Persephone read the invitation for the third time and wondered who Rochelle Denise Black or Mr. and Mrs. Wendell E. Black, the parents of Rochelle, were. Maybe it wasn't the Rochelle she knew. And who was William Edward McGrath? Could it be the Mr. and Mrs. James E. McGrath III, who she was acquainted with? She sat at her desk, tapping a pen on the flap of the envelope and knitting her eyebrows, closing the pink invitation with the gold lettering and putting it back in its envelope. She was unable to figure out who it could possibly be. Certainly not Calvin, her ex boyfriend, because his last name was Ware. The truth be told, there was no way in hell Calvin Ware was going to marry some woman with bank enough to have a sunrise ceremony at the enclosed main ballroom of the Renaissance Center, with the river shores and Canada as a backdrop, and a breakfast that followed in the main ballroom, and an afternoon reception also in the main ballroom. Thank you very much. No, Lord, Calvin ain't have nothing to do with this. Persephone came to that conclusion and grabbed the second envelope from Jasmine, saving the best part for last. Persephone hadn't written her sister in a few months and hadn't called, and vice versa. Maybe that's why she hadn't. Maybe that's why she had gotten the nice thick brown envelope in the mail today. Persephone thought the letter must be a good 12 pages, judging from the weight of the envelope, and judging from the bulge near the bottom, there was a special surprise inside. With Jasmine, that bulge could mean anything from a piece of jewelry, like the tiny gold heart she'd sent for Valentine's Day. Persephone hadn't thought to send Jasmine so much as a card. Or, or it could be a strange crystal she had stumbled upon while shopping in some little village in Germany. Persephone eagerly removed the contents of the envelope and found a 14-page letter and a cassette tape in a plastic case, which had been neatly wrapped in a page from a German newspaper. Persephone glanced over the news page as if the letters were printed using the Japanese alphabet. She tossed the paper absently to the floor and looked at the cassette strip marked A. Jasmine had printed on the tiny strip, "Read my letter first." Persephone proceeded to do as instructed. After the first two paragraphs, Jasmine explained exactly what had happened when she got all that money. "I knew it was some shit," Persephone mumbled as she learned about the fraud Wolfgang had pulled on Jasmine. Persephone's mouth formed an O as she read on about how Jasmine and Soul Cool were working on this new ballad, Never Alone, and it was supposed to be all that. And Jasmine had met someone. What? Persephone wailed and threw her feet up with enough force for one of the house slippers she'd been wearing to go airborne. Mom and Dad were downstairs. Mom was probably in the kitchen getting dinner ready, and Persephone immediately tried to stifle her enthusiasm. She read on. His name was Saddam Rashidi. Saddam Rashidi. Persephone immediately thought that maybe he was a Muslim brother. From Iran, Persia, Jasmine wrote. Iran? Like Iranian? Persephone quizzed the page she was reading. Like a terrorist Iranian? Like an Arab? Hey, didn't our boys have to fight a Saddam in that Persian Gulf War? Persephone tried to visually devour the next 10 paragraphs. It was a brief but detailed synopsis of Saddam Rashidi. He was the son of a former general of the Shah of Iran's army. The Rashidi family had once lived in a palace located near the Shah's fabulous estate. They had servants. Huh, thought Persephone. Probably had slaves. In 1971, the Shah of Iran, threw a big bash to celebrate the 2500th anniversary of the founding of the Persian Empire, and Saddam and his family were part of the VIP circle of the ball. She making him sound like some Arab prince or something. Persephone mumbled to the page and read on about how the celebration was estimated to cost over $100 million. Now that's a party, Persephone thought out loud. Persephone eagerly read on about how the Rashidi family barely escaped Iran with their heads intact when the Ayatollah and his army took over and began publicly beheading anyone associated with the Shah and his regime. How intense, Persephone mused. I thought that only happened back in the olden days. Persephone continued reading the next few paragraphs, stood up screaming when she got to the best part. Oh, she's sending for me first class ticket, baby. She bellowed this time, the glass panes in her bedroom almost vibrating from her volume. Soon, Ma came stomping upstairs, marched down the upstairs hallway, and flung open Persephone's bedroom door. You lost your mind? God damn it! What the fuck wrong with you? Huh? Her mother demanded, looking furious with one fist on her hip. Ma, Jasmine want me to visit her the first of the year, Persephone started to explain. At the same time, she gathered the other pages together in case Ma was trying to read over her shoulder. First thing, how the fuck you gonna go to Germany? Your ass ain't got bus fare downtown, let alone money for a plane ticket, her mother said, now advancing closer to Persephone and blatantly looking at the pages Jasmine had written. No, Persephone said playfully and snatched up the pages dramatically, holding them to her breast and laughing. At 35 years of age, Persephone had tried to defy her mother only once before in her adult life. When Persephone was 19, she had made the mistake of calling her mother by her first name, Lola. Can you hand me the spatula, please? Persephone had said while smoothing down some of the custard she had just poured into a pie shell with the same inefficient metal spoon she had used to stir the ingredients for the lemon pies. Persephone had looked up from the spoon in time to catch the blow from the back-handed pimp slap her mother expertly dispersed to her startled daughter. Suddenly, it was as if Lola had the starring role in a blaxploitation movie. Persephone broke into tears and sobs, more from the shock of being assaulted than in any actual physical pain. Although later that day she would observe slight swelling and a small cut on her puffy bottom lip. Don't you ever call me Lola, you hear me? Not for as long as you live. Her mother had her face near the side of Persephone's bowed and sobbing head and was screaming in her ear like a drill sergeant. My name is Mama. Ma, Mom, Mommy, or even Mother. But I be damn I'm gonna have a child of mine calling me by my first name. You hear me? Her mother was still screaming and right in Persephone's ear.